Hey, this is the Jon Krawczynski Show. He's Jon Krawczynski from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. We appreciate you listening. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We're presented to you by Giggly THC Beverages and Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood. Thanks to all of our sponsors, all of our listeners, all of our viewers now as we start to do more YouTube videos. It's been a blast doing this show and running the network. We appreciate it very much. Again, we are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services. Summer is flying by and will be over before we know it. Don't waste it on repairs. From flickering lights to not-so-hot water heaters, let Aquarius take care of your to-do list. With $98 off any electrical or plumbing repair, we're ready to rescue your summer from household headaches so you can enjoy a worry-free home. Aquarius, local, trusted, and earning the right to be recommended. Schedule today at aquariushomeservices.com.
So, John, let's dive into it. We talked a little bit about Donte DiVincenzo, his role, dealing with some off-season physical problems. What are you hearing about him right now?
Yeah, so I think last week, basically the news kind of just broke as we were recording the show about Donte DiVincenzo not playing in the Euro Cup with Italy. He has kind of gained clearance for his Italian citizenship and being able to participate with the team in international play, and I think with an eye perhaps toward the Olympics down the road. But there was initially a real plan for DiVincenzo to play for Italy this fall in competition, and just last week it became known that he was not going to play. The director of Italian basketball said publicly that DiVincenzo was going to, had aggravated a toe injury that was going to need some rehab to go through, and understandably that sends Timberwolves fandom into panic about it. Like, whoa, is he going to be missing time? What's happening? So I was able to talk to people kind of connected both to the Wolves and to DiVincenzo over the last few days. And essentially what I can say is what I hinted at the show on the show last week was that this is not something to be concerned about for Donte DiVincenzo going into the NBA season, going into NBA training camp. From everything that I have heard, not playing competitively this late summer and into the fall was more of a precaution that is being taken, not because he is injured or because he aggravated that toe injury that caused him to miss a bunch of time last year, but because he doesn't want to risk further injury. And he knows that this is a big season coming up for the Timberwolves, that this is a big season for him in sort of kind of year two with Minnesota, and not playing as well as he wanted to last year for the most part. And so he wants to just be out there and be ready to go, right from the jump, and be ready to jump into this thing and be a part of this in a major way. And so, another thing is, like, this was not, we have seen cases in the past, both here and other places, of a team blocking their player from playing internationally. The Timberwolves did not do that here with Donte DiVincenzo. He was cleared to play. They were okay with him playing. And ultimately it just got to the point where the decision was made that this was not going to be the right thing for Donte DiVincenzo to do. And again, just all precautionary. So there's no, he'll be ready to go in training camp. He is working out this summer. He's going through all of his normal summer routines, and he's going to be A-okay, ready to go. So it's a definitive, don't worry about Donte DiVincenzo right now. There's nothing related to this decision that is because of a current health situation that is holding him back. It's just like, hey, I just want to make sure that nothing happens before this season begins, so he is ready.
You've talked in depth about him as a player, as a fit, his transition, his personality. I do think he's a really interesting personality. He's feisty, he's chippy, he's prideful, maybe a little sensitive. I don't say that in a bad way. Mm-hmm. public figures tend to be sensitive. We all tend to be sensitive, and public figures tend to be revealed as sensitive because of what the scrutiny they're under. How do you think his personality will play with this group next year? Will it be any different with him in his second year?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I appreciated about him last season was that even though he was late to the party in terms of coming over right before the training camp began, I don't think he came in hesitant or reluctant to kind of assert himself, to make his voice heard. He is a veteran on this team with a very young core. And so you did see him throughout the year kind of express himself, I think, like he normally would if he had been here for 5 or 6 years. And I think that you hinted at it and you alluded to it, but I think his feistiness is needed on this team. There certainly are strong personalities in the locker room and in several corners of it. But I think that having someone like Julius Randle is feisty on the court, but quiet in the locker room. Ant is feisty everywhere. I think Donte is a little bit closer to the Ant side of the spectrum in that, he is a guy who will compete and fight and do everything he can on the court. And then he will be talkative in the locker room as well. And that's important. I think they need more assertive voices in the locker room and kind of like getting people together, figuring things out. And one of the other things that was really refreshing about Donte last year was even when he was struggling, he was acknowledging that to the group and like not trying to be something he wasn't, or not, he was owning his role in what was happening at the start of the season and why things weren't going so well. And he was forthright with it. So that kind of approach, I think, is important. I think the more competitive, fiery dudes you can have on the court at one time, like that's important in establishing an edge to the team. And so I think he fit in well, and I think he will in year 2 that will strengthen because this is a team that's going to come into this season with a lot of pressure on itself, but also with a lot of competition from outside in the conference. And so you better be ready to fight and scratch and claw. And Donte kind of finding his way that way will only help that part of it.
Let's get to the Timberwolves roster, a couple of new additions and how things are shaking out, what might happen between here and the opening of training camp. First, I want to tell you, I had a friend in town this weekend. We had a great time, went out for drinks, and it reminded me that, I'm old and I can't drink every night. And, you get to a certain age, and Jon still has, Jon's a very disciplined person, but he also has children. Children will make you disciplined to a certain extent. My kids are grown up. I could have a drink every night if I wanted to. It's not a great idea. It's got to be more special occasions, more weekends. So that's where Giggly has fit into my life beautifully. I can have something that tastes like a cocktail, that is healthy, that is low calorie, that has ginseng, ashwagandha, makes me feel better in the moment, makes me sleep better, makes me wake up feeling really good the next morning. It's just a great option, because I always want something at the end of the night, whether it's dessert, cocktail, and this has kind of gotten me away from eating a high sugar dessert right before I go to bed, or having alcohol right before I go to bed. And it's amazing what a great effect it's had on me. So I really appreciate the products at giggly.com, Gigli.com. Promo code GigglyNorth will get you up to 50% off your first order at giggly.com. You can also find Giggly at Quick Trips across Minnesota, a lot of other places. So I would, go to Quick Trip. That's easy. It's not really easy to have it delivered. It just shows up at your door. It's ready to go. And all you do is pour it over ice. You have a lot of volume. You can drink and without any risk of feeling bad. Tastes great. You'll feel great. Highly recommend it. Giggly.com, promo code GigglyNorth. We also want to hear from Jon on Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood.
If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than our good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they've got you covered with 2 great locations, Lexus of Wyzetta, and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to lexusofwyzetta.com or lexusofmaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today.
So the Timberwolves did sign a couple of players. How do they fit in?
They signed Enrique Freeman to a 2-way deal. He was with Indiana. Kind of a, just an interesting guy, swing guy and they really like how he played in Las Vegas in the summer league. Him being on a 2-way contract now essentially means they have Rocco Zikarsky, Enrique Freeman, and Tristan Newton on their 2-way deal. So all 3 of their 2-way contracts are now filled. They have not, I don't think, officially announced this yet, but they do intend to part ways with Jesse Edwards, who was the other 2-way guy last year. And he was their big guy. He was kind of their Rudy Gobert facsimile that played in Iowa. And awesome dude, super good guy, chess player, was just one of the nicest guys when he would come around, and be with the team in Minneapolis. But I think he's going to be moving on to other spaces. Just with when you draft Johan Berenger, when you draft Rocco Zikarsky, 2 big dudes that are going to see their fair share of time in Iowa, there just wasn't room for Jesse Edwards. I do think that the Wolves generally liked him and liked what he brought to the table, but they're kind of moving on with different projects at the big man spot. And so Freeman will come in and kind of fill in another 2-way spot. And then they also signed Johnny Juzang. He played at UCLA, has played with the Utah Jazz. He is getting like an Exhibit 10 deal. So that means essentially a camp deal, which he will come to training camp and compete for a spot and see if he can stick at the end of the bench. And he's an interesting guy. Like, he averaged 8.9 points per game, shot 37.6% from 3 last year for the Jazz in the time. I think he played in like 64 games, averaged about 20 minutes a game for the tanking Jazz. And he's got some good size to him. He's an interesting player. Let me just look at his measurables again. Yeah, 6'7", 215 pounds, and a little bit of a pedigree coming from UCLA. And so when you're looking at guys to kind of just come in and compete, he feels like he fits what PJ Dozier was last year in terms of a guy who came in on a non-guaranteed deal, stuck around for a little while, ended up not sticking around for the entirety of the season, but that's a possibility for Johnny Juzang. And when you look at those spots, a guy who's 6'7", who could shoot the 3, who's played, in the league for 3 years, I mean, that's a worthwhile flyer for this team. And so they're continuing to look at kind of filling their roster spots. We've talked on this program several times about Malcolm Brogdon, about, Campaign, about Landry Shamet, about those types of players. And I think that they're still working through the possibilities there. One thing I will say, Jim, that I have heard in talking to people over the last few days is that I still think that Bones Highland is a possibility for that guard spot. In the rotation. I do think, though, that he is weighing a more lucrative offer from Europe. And so it kind of depends on what he wants to do, I think, in terms of, does he want to take more money to go over to Europe and probably have certainly a larger role and be able to play a lot in Europe? Or is he willing to kind of risk it a little bit and stay in the NBA, stay in Minnesota, and kind of think about a more tenuous role for less money, but you get to stay in the league. And so I think he's a name to look for. I still think guys like Campaign, Landry Shamet are others that could get this sort of partially guaranteed end of the bench rotation spot. Malcolm Brogdon is a name that I'm still monitoring and still think there's a chance at, but I think it's less. If I'm handicapping the situation right now, I would be less likely to bet on Malcolm Brogdon being the guy here, more likely someone else in that role. And, as a lead guard, as a combo guard, sort of insurance on Conley and Dillingham, those types of things. And so we'll see what Bones does and see how he makes his decision, and then see how that trickles down. But the Wolves are continuing to look at veterans who have played in the league and who they think could be reliable. But there's just nothing set in stone just yet as we record this on Monday morning.
Which midnight trade is going to come down, and what day is it going to happen on? Like, when is Tim Connelly going to take the roster we think is absolutely set and just blow it up and do something crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you never know, Jim, right? With the way that he goes about it. I mean, we can, I think I'm sure it was this time last year, we were talking and about run it back. Everything is set. They're like going through. We're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns coming back to town and being at Lynx games and and starting to work out with the team and all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, the sky falls on everyone. And so when you do have Tim Connelly running the show, you do always have to be on alert for the next big blockbuster trade. As of today, I don't think that is coming, but circumstances can always change. And I can guarantee you, let's just say for complete speculation and hypotheticals that Giannis asks out. Shams Charania, my old teammate and who's at ESPN now, reported actually this morning that he's still sort of mulling his future and has not made a decision yet on what he's going to do with the Milwaukee Bucks, and if he's all in and if he's going to stay or if he's going to request a trade. When Shams is putting this stuff out there, it's for a reason. He is getting that information. He is very plugged in. And so, yeah, like, is that a situation that you have to monitor? Of course, because not just the Timberwolves, but every team would be lining up trying to get Giannis. But I do think, just given Tim's nature, you would expect that they would at least try and enter into the conversation about Giannis Antetokounmpo and stuff like that. So, nothing I expect, nothing that I think is anywhere close to happening. But with the way that Tim operates, you just can never, go on vacation and expect nothing to happen, because who knows what's right around the corner.
I look forward to seeing how Ant and LeBron play next to each other. I think it'll be fascinating. Yeah, let's do it. They have tradable contracts now. Go get LeBron, Tim. Let's see what happens. As we talk here, I'm reminded that, anytime I watch local sports on TV, I see ads for TSR injury law, and they're the rare ads that pop up that are, to me, are kind of heartwarming, because we know Steve, we know his relationship with Nas, his relationship with the Timberwolves, we know their heart is in the right place, and some of the ads they do are very funny or entertaining, like all the Nas Reed ads. Some of them are pretty heartfelt. They're talking about helping people, which I appreciate. So it's been great to have this relationship with TSR Injury Law. They've been great to us. They've helped us get this show and this network off the ground. They're steady, they're supportive, they're fun, and we really like being affiliated with them, just as the major sports teams in town feel the same way. So if you're ever injured, just remember 612-TSR-TIME, 612-TSR-TIME. You will deal with a lawyer. They will try to help you. If they can't help you, they'll point you in the right direction. And if they take your case, they won't charge you unless they win your case. And they win a lot of cases. So remember 612-TSR-TIME. Thanks also to Royal Credit Union.
Choosing the right banking partner for your business is an important decision. Royal Credit Union supports your business needs now and into the future with flexible checking account options and digital tools to help streamline your business operations. Royal also helps take your business further with treasury management services, including ACH, sweeps, and positive pay. Choose Royal Credit Union for business checking. Get started at rcu.org/Royal Choice. Insured by NCUA.
And Jon, tell us about Princeton's Liquors.
Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove. Bill Princeton, the Princeton family. You know the story by now, thanks to their partnership with us, that they have just been in the liquor business forever and ever. And you go into Princeton's Liquors, you are going to be treated like family. You are going to be treated like one of the community, because one of the community has been invested in this business, in this community for a super long time. You go in there, look for your bourbon, for craft beer. Those are their two sort of specialties, but you can get whatever you need from the wine and spirits ilk at Princeton's Liquors. Great pricing, unbelievable selection. And when you go into Princeton's Liquors, you know you are going into a place that has been here for a long time, that is going to be here for a long time. We love at Talk North and at the Jon Krawczynski Show to be involved with community companies and entities that have been around and are really invested in us, that speak our language. And Princeton's Liquors is one of those. So go to Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove. Excellent bourbon, excellent craft beer, excellent everything that you can need for your late summer parties, for just hanging out on the deck, doing some grilling, for watching the Lynx just crush everyone in the WNBA right now. Princeton's Liquors in Maple Grove.
We'll talk a little bit about the Lynx later in this show. Right now, it looks like the NBA is really interested in Europe. What does that mean for the league and possibly for the Timberwolves?
Yeah, it's interesting, Jim. This has really started to bubble up over the last couple of weeks here. My colleague Joe Varden at The Athletic reported last week that Adam Silver and a contingent of NBA officials were in Europe talking to several teams about the idea of an NBA Europe league. And they're talking to, I think, Real Madrid, which is like a European basketball power, along with a European soccer power. They're looking at teams in Barcelona, in France. Fenerbahce in Turkey is really well known. That's another one kind of in their sights. They want to have a team in London. And exactly how like it would all fit together with the NBA domestic product, I think remains to be seen. But it does all of a sudden just seem like, and Bill Simmons talked about this on his podcast last week as well, but it does seem like the league has almost shifted some of its concentration and focus from domestic expansion to European expansion, or not expansion, I should say, but this European league. And because it would not mean that, you know, the Timberwolves would fly to Europe and play in the middle of the season, you do anything like that, at least not certainly anytime soon. But maybe there would be opportunities for teams to play each other in some sort of Champions League type tournament, or, you know, things like that. And I do think also that kind of going the European route versus the domestic route and adding teams to the NBA proper, then the owners wouldn't have to split that TV revenue with two other teams. And so I'm not saying that that the league is not going to expand to Seattle and Vegas or wherever else. I think that's still very much on the table. I just find it interesting that there sort of has been much more focus right now on Europe than what we haven't heard much about their efforts to look at Vegas and Seattle and really kind of ramp that up the timeline of adding two more teams to the league right now, which I kind of thought was inevitable and was going to happen like very, very soon. So it's something to be worth watching and monitoring and just kind of seeing how it all shapes, because it could have an impact financially on the Timberwolves, on the new owners, Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez. It could, change. We've talked a lot about, well, if they add two teams to the West, then maybe the Wolves move east. There's just a lot of trickle down things that could affect the Timberwolves a great deal here. And it's just something that has my attention here as we enter what typically is the dormant month of the league. There's a lot being talked about right now with Europe and what that would look like and how feasible that is. But it seems like that is full speed ahead with Europe right now. And it's just kind of an interesting wrinkle to all of this expansion talk that we've had over the last couple of years here.
Fascinating. And if the NFL is trying to get into Europe, where they don't really have a natural fan base. They have to create the fan base. I mean, NBA players are already international superstars. I mean, we saw that in China, we saw it in Italy, we saw it in, London. I mean, it would be, the logistics might be difficult. The popularity would be immediate.
No question. And I mean, not even to mention that, like, the top 5 dudes in the league right now are international players.
Right.
And so like, you just have a very tangible and feasible connection from Europe, from Asia, from South America, like, to the league, because they can see their own people having real success. And that is just such a huge springboard for building fans, in foreign countries, is if they can look at, they can watch, Slovenia and even any of the Eastern Bloc kind of countries can look at, Luka and Jokic and those guys. Then you have Greece with Giannis, and you have France with Wemby and Rudy and these guys. There's just a lot of international flavor to the league right now, and that would help, I think, their marketing. And again, like, what I don't know is how you build the bridge between NBA and NBA Europe in terms of, like, competing and what that exactly looks like. But I do think that there now is a belief that there is enough talent on the globe, and certainly in Europe, to put together really, really good teams. I think that there was a concern 10, 20 years ago about, man, if you had an NBA Europe, like, how good are these teams really going to be? Are they even going to be G League level competitiveness? And I think that has been satisfied, that they're, if you put the G League teams against European teams right now, I mean, probably the European teams win a good portion of those games, and so that's a good start. But then, like, where does it fit in? Like, in some sort of can they do a tournament? Can they bring teams over to play every once in a while? That will be the interesting part of it. But I think it is viewed as a moneymaker, as a game grower, as all of those things, and so there seems to be real energy and effort being put into this happening. And when you see also, like, as an observer of the league and observer of the way Adam Silver works, when you see kind of reports like this surface, like Joe Varden's last week, that this is kind of trial ballooning it for Silver. Like, he's getting it out there. He's getting people talking about it. And oftentimes when it gets to this level, the train is already leaving the station. So I think that this is a likely thing to happen. When exactly, we'll see. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the NBA incorporates it, and exactly how many teams come in and what it all means. But it's fascinating for just the state of the league in general in terms of growing to be a truly global game.
I really do think they should be in Seattle and Vegas. I still expect that to happen. Two more points. One is, if Americans will wake up early on Saturday and Sunday mornings to watch Premier League and soccer, they will certainly get up to watch good basketball if it's available to them. Second, I keep waiting for this. Someday there's going to be an advancement in air travel.
Yes.
Now, someday you're going to go from a 6-7 hour flight from East Coast to London. There's going to be a 4-hour flight. Someday we're going to make a leap there. I'm shocked it's taken this long. And whenever that leap happens, these leagues want to be ready to play home and home with London and Dublin and plus, the other important thing here is this might give you another chance to cover Ricky Rubio.
Oh man, just one more. And, like, hey, it'll be a lot easier to, hey, I got to expense this trip to Spain because Ricky is now playing with Juventud, like the team that he started out with.
Player coach.
what a story that would be. And any more opportunity, I'm all in on. That's all I need to hear. And just call me in favor of NBA Europe for sure.
I love it. Let's get to the Lynx and all the drama around that franchise right now. We'll wrap up some other Timberwolves thoughts. First, though, tell us about True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington, truevision.com. If you are watching this on YouTube right now, you can see that I have no glasses. Now I have, I haven't changed my avatar on Twitter to glasses free yet, because it's just like they were such a part of my life for so long that I've had a hard time just like accepting it, but it's been so much better. My life is so much better. It's so much easier. And as I've started to tell you the last couple of weeks, the hassle-free element of it, you just can't put a price tag on. I do not have to go in for the yearly eye examinations anymore. I don't have to worry about buying a new batches of contacts. I don't have to worry about if my glasses frames are in style or out of style now. I'm just going forward with seeing clearly and being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want from a vision standpoint. It has been completely life-changing. So go to truevision.com, set up your consultation, go in there, be just wrapped in the blanket of hospitality that they provide there. It's wonderful. And they will get you through to whatever vision correction module is best for you. But I had LASIK surgery. It's been more than a year now, and I've still seen just as clearly as I ever was right after the surgery. Fantastic stuff. I cannot recommend it enough. True Vision in Bloomington, truevision.com.
We will do a Twitter question sponsored by Shepherd Goods and Lamb Chops clothing line at the end of the show. What's up with Shepherd Goods and Lamb Chops these days?
Yeah, you go to Lamb Chops. I was wearing, we had a little kind of town festival where I live right now over the weekend, and I was wearing lamb chop shorts both days, the Friday and the Saturday, and everyone was asking me about them. Hey, where do I get those shorts? So these are really cool. They are, as I've said before, my favorite shorts. You go to lambchops.com, sglambchops.com, put in the promo code JONK20, and you will get shorts, shirts, hats, t-shirts for 20% off anything that you get at sglambchops.com. That's the promo code JONK20 for 20% off anything that you can get there. My son, who's 12 years old and is impossible to impress, even likes these shorts. Has complimented me on it the other day, and that's the first nice thing he said about anything that I've worn in forever. So you can wear these out on the town. You can wear them at home. You can wear them playing basketball. Like they're so versatile. They're so high quality, and I'm going to be able to have them forever and ever. But I also wear their t-shirts. I also wear their sweatshirts, their hoodies. I wear, so much of what Lamb Chops brings to the table because it fits great, it feels great, and it looks great. So go to sglambchops.com, promo code JONK20 for 20% off anything that you can get at Lamb Chop.
We'll finish the show with a Twitter question sponsored by Shepherd Goods and Lamb Chops clothing line. It'll be on the Timberwolves. For now, I will say that the Lynx are a gift to this market. Mm-hmm. They are great and they are fascinating. Last 24, 40, 36 hours, whatever, they destroy Vegas, in Vegas, a team that recently we were wondering if they were going to three-peat, and now the Lynx just treat them like the Washington Generals, just destroyed them with Asia Wilson healthy. Then Cheryl plays Nafisa Collier in the fourth quarter of a blowout. Nafisa ends up rolling her ankle badly. We don't know how badly. End of the third,
Jim. I think it was end of the third.
Thank you. End of third. Yep. You're right. I was thinking earlier. So end of third, and I get it. I'm not going to bash Cheryl for it, but we have to bring it up as it is something that happened. We played her in a blowout. She got hurt. I think she probably would have pulled her at the beginning of the fourth. So, probably bad timing more than anything else. And then they trade Diamond Miller, former second pick in the draft, Katie Sandlison, who was hurt, and then a second-round draft pick for Dejounte Carrington, one of the best defensive guards in the league, big, strong, aggressive, excellent defender. They were already the best defensive team in the league. Now they are a much better defensive team. Diamond Miller always She's athletic. She always showed flashes. She was not reliable. Trying to win a championship, you need reliability. And it's funny because they had 2 very high draft picks recently. Mm-hmm. They take Alyssa Pilley instead of Angel Reese. Of course, Angel Reese is a far better player. But because they don't have Angel Reese, they're relying on Alana Smith, who's one of the most important players on this team. I would think eventually this franchise will look at and go, okay, now we could use Angel Reese, but they have not missed her to date. They've been the best team in the league for a long time now. And now they cut Diamond Miller, second pick in the draft. You really feel like you need to get value out of that pick. They did not get value out of the pick. It was a pretty weak draft. Is one of the reasons Diamond Miller was the second pick. And now they leverage her to get a great defensive player. And whatever we think about what might have been with this roster, who they should have drafted, who could have helped them out, they have the best team in the league, and they just improved themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think let's go forward in this discussion, assuming that Nafisa Collier is not going to be out for an extended period, because she was able to walk off. Yeah, she was able to walk off the court under her own power. She may miss a little bit of time, but they have such a cushion in between them and the Liberty in second place that I don't think that they have to rush her back. But I don't think it's going to be, missing 2 months of the season because of it, just so far. But if we operate under that assumption, I just thought that I was watching a bunch of the game against the Aces, and in the NBA or the WNBA, there are games in the regular season. We all kind of just spend the entire regular season waiting for the playoffs, but there are games in the regular season that are very informative in terms of, there's generally speaking, when a team is on a title winning track, they have a game where they're like, listen, we're going to let every single person in this league know that we are the best team, and that we are not just, someone that needs to be worried about. We need someone that needs to be feared. And I think that was what we saw in that Aces game on national TV. It was on ABC in a prime viewing time slot. And they just, after beating the Aces by 31, recently, they just said, oh, you thought that was good? Now watch this. And they played with such ferocity defensively. Kayla McBride was making every single shot she took. And they just approached it as, we're going to send a message to the entire league that we are the team to beat. And mission accomplished. I mean, the one thing I guess you kind of sort of worry about a little bit is, do they have enough size, to go all the way through and win this whole thing? I know they wanted Miesman a lot, and she ended up going to the Liberty instead. Cheryl was just like, when she said, she was asked about it, she said, well, she made the wrong choice. I know. That's just great Cheryl stuff there. But it looks like this team, coming off of the disappointment of last season, is one that is just like, we're here and we're going to make this happen. And that's what the Carrington move is. It's like, we believe we're on the cusp of winning the title, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that this window that is open right now, that we have every chance to step through it. And so you give up maybe a little bit more future upside if Diamond Miller ever were to stay healthy and stick around, but it just seemed like it wasn't working for Carrington, who doesn't shoot it well, but is incredibly, she feels like the, kind of like when the Pistons, got Mark Aguirre back in the day for Adrian Dantley. Like, you give up, a little bit more often, but you bring toughness in, and you bring, just another, like, just hard-headed person to drop elbows and lock people up. And that's what Carrington will do. And so they're ready, man. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them get into the playoffs. And I love the edge that they're playing with. I love all the confidence that they have, and it's super fun to watch.
Also, keep an eye out. The way Jess Shepard played in that game, the way the bench responded every time she made a play, it was like, that's what we've been waiting for. That's what we've been coaching. Like, she had a classic split the defenders, cradle the ball, muscle to the rim, finish moment, and the bench exploded in a way like that's what they've been looking for. That's what they've been coaching her to do. Cheryl was and Lindsay were both exulting. I mean, she's a very good player. She's a very good fit. And I think they think she has even more upside if she starts playing lights out. And you had Carrington. I mean, predictions are worthless, but I think they're going to win it all. And I'm starting to wonder if they're going to just rampage through the playoffs.
No, I mean, yeah, they look ready for it. And, I love watching teams that get kicked in the teeth in a finals-like appearance and then come back the next year and just are ready to shove it down your throat. Like that's just the way that these ladies have played the entire season. And they only seem to be picking it up now. I think the All-Star break and kind of all the attention that, that Courtney and Atisha got, like, I think like all of that is like building. It's all momentum and it's all like the avalanche is coming. And so, hopefully Fee is okay and will be back sooner than later, but they just have the gleam in their eye right now. And that there's not much more fun to see, something happen like that than when a team gets that and just is like, they have the taste for blood and they just are coming at you. And so, I think, a rematch with New York or however it works out, be fantastic for the league. It'd be fantastic for the market. And it's really, really fun to see, especially as the Twins collapse and sell everyone off, to see a team going for it the way the Lynx are, and maximizing their window. Awesome. Just go for it.
And I just can't wait for the commissioner to wear her Prince t-shirt
she
after the finals.
Now.
She has to, yeah.
No question about it. Yeah.
Spoon and cherry t-shirt. Let's get to the Twitter question.
Yeah, let me find it here. This one is from Jaron Cheddar. Rumor is that the throwback Black Trees and Prince jerseys are coming back for this year. Do you have any more information about these iconic threads and hopefully coming soon? And I will say, I like the question because we talk all the time about on the court, about players, about trades, about all this stuff. But one thing that fans love, and I love too, I love the jersey talk. I love the look. People get excited for it. And as far as I know, which I think both of the Black Tree uniforms and the Prince uniforms are coming back this year. One thing that the league is doing sort of league wide this season, which I think is a good idea, is they're having teams kind of recycle their favorite city edition threads. Because, I mean, when you ask a team to have a brand new uniform every single year, you just it's asking too much, in my opinion. And so all the teams are bringing back some of their favorites this year, and the Wolves are going back to the dark Prince version that was so popular. So that'll be super cool. And then they are adding in the throwback Black Trees every once in a while uniform that they will wear throughout this season as well. And so both of them are beloved. And I think any time that you can sort of deviate from their rather uninspired main uniforms, as they probably work toward a full rebrand, which Alex Rodriguez has kind of hinted at. I don't think is coming this year, but I think, in the next couple of years, they'll just really have a full on rebrand. But right now the Wolves fans will be getting the Prince jerseys back, and we'll be getting those trees back for limited games this season. So, I think that will increase the aesthetic quality of the team for quite a bit going into next season. So be excited about that. Those are real things that will be happening here. So Jaron, I will reach out to you on Twitter and connect you with Lamb Chops for a giveaway. Again, sglambchops.com, promo code JONK20 for anything, 20% off anything you get at Lamb Chops.
Well, that was a fun conversation. Thanks for the Twitter question. Thanks to all of our sponsors, all of our listeners. We do appreciate it. We'll talk to you early next week. Check out talknorth.com, Russo, LaPanta, Lavelle, Royce Smalley, Mark Rosen, Randy Shaver's new high school football show, not new, a year-old high school football show, Don Mitchell's interview show, much more outdoor content, We have just so much stuff at the site. Go check it out. We do appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon.